Your all-access pass to the draft starts now. This is Fox 11 News continuing coverage of Fox 11 Draft 25.
I apologize to the entire community. I got it completely wrong. I thought 250,000 people would come to this draft over 3 days, and you have completely blown that number out the doors.
Exceeding all goals, the NFL was all smiles as the biggest event in Greenbay history wrapped up.
This is Greenbay. There's nothing better than this. Titletown, Greenbay Packers, best atmosphere in football.
Fans of NFL teams from across the country descended on Titletown.
Everyone is so friendly here. Really, the town has just been so welcoming, and all the people have been really great. And so we're loving the food, we're loving the atmosphere and everything. It's been great.
The food, the entertainment, and of course the star of the show, the draft.
It says, my fellow Americans, the Barryn Sorrell.
Packers' first pick in the draft, wide receiver Matthew Golden.
We got another Golden Boy, so we're looking forward to that. I think it was a great pick. I think good things are going to happen.
The roads are open, the stage is down, the city is quiet.
Now Pittsburgh is on the clock.
We hit it out of the ballpark. It was not only a home run, it was a grand slam. Well, being completely modest.
It is hard to believe that after 2 years of all of the setup, planning, preparation, that the draft is over. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fox 11 Draft 25 Touchdown in Titletown special.
The Titletown capitalizing on this historic event, welcoming more than 600,000 fans to the 3-day event. You know, it was tied at second most fans in attendance with, that was with Nashville only behind Detroit.
Yeah, and the Packers giving green and gold faithful what they've always wanted, taking a wide receiver in the first round for the first time since 2002. That wide receiver's name, Matthew Golden out of Texas. They followed that up by adding depth to their offensive line, selecting Anthony Belton out of NC State. At pick 87, they doubled down on wide receiver, taking Savion Williams from TCU in the third round. With their first pick on day 3, edge rusher Barryn Sorrell from Texas. The Packers went defense in rounds 5 and 6. Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State, an edge rusher, and Warren Brinson, a defensive tackle from Georgia. They waited until the 7th round to grab a cornerback, Micah Robinson from Tulane. And with their last pick in this year's draft, the Packers adding another offensive lineman, John Williams from Cincinnati. And I caught up with our Packers Hall of Famer, Johnnie Gray, to get his full thoughts on what the Packers did in this draft. I'm joined now by our Packers Hall of Famer, Johnnie Gray. Johnny, we talked right after the draft, now that you've had a little bit of time to digest. What one pick are you most excited to see in 2025?
I want to see the third pick. Williams, wide receiver, 6'4", he's got a boatload of talent. And he's a matchup nightmare. So you heard Coach talk about inside the red zone, but in training camp, they do a lot of some blitz drills where the receivers are matched up against a linebacker, and just him, that size, that athletic ability, what he can do, what those guys can do with him on the football field. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we had talked the entire draft process. We thought they'd go edge rusher fairly early. They waited until day 3, but they got two guys that I think could be really interesting, Barryn Sorrell and Colin Oliver.
Well, guys that they can utilize up front, I think they really wanted to go after, like, beefing up that a little bit, that defensive line. They kind of got tossed around a little bit in that Philadelphia games, so I think they wanted to come back and get a little stronger up front and just have a little bit more tenacity. I think the guys that you're going to see in training camp are going to bring that extra vigor.
And you talked about getting tossed around a bit. A guy that's hard to move around is the second round pick, Anthony Belton out of NC State, a mammoth human being.
That he is. And again, I'll go back to that. You know, you have to go back to the Super Bowl, or the game that they lost in the playoffs. Because you say, well, why did we get beat? How did we get beat? Well, we got kind of outmanned a little bit here and there. We got kind of pushed around a little bit. So, yeah, hey, this draft, let's go out and find some bodies that we know that fit our personality that can go out there and go toe-to-toe with those guys like that.
And then didn't draft a corner until the 7th round. Micah Robinson out of Tulane. We're still kind of up in the air on the Jair situation. We don't know, but listen, Carrington Valentine was a 7th round pick. He played right away. What do you expect out of Robinson?
Well, expect the same. He'll get his opportunities to get out there and show his worth or what he can do. But again, you know, yeah, you get excited about the draft, but it's until you get to training camp where you really get a chance to look at their talent and their athletic ability.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to really see them in mandatory minicamp. That's early in June. And then once you get to training camp, you really get to see what the 2025 Packers are going to look like. I'll ask you quickly, what was your one big takeaway from the schedule?
Well, it's a challenging schedule, but it's a beatable one. So I like their chances on what they can do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because they have the earliest bye in the NFL Week 5. Week 3 to Week 9, they did not have a single team that made the playoffs last year. You got to make hay then because it is backloaded.
Oh, absolutely. Take advantage of it.
All right. It should be fun to see what the 2025 Packers will look like. Johnnie Gray joining me, our Packers Hall of Famer. Speaking of that schedule, let's take a look at the first half of the season. Week 1, the Lions come to Lambeau September 7th. First time the Packers have opened at home to start the year since 2018. A quick turnaround to Thursday night football against the Commanders. The Packers' first road game against the Browns in Week 3. That will be right here on Fox 11 at noon. The following week, they're in Dallas to take on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Packers then have the earliest bye in the NFL. That's Week 5. They return to Lambeau for Week 6 in a showdown with the Cincinnati Bengals and quarterback Joe Burrow. Then back-to-back road games. First in Arizona, a 3:25 kickoff against the Cardinals on Fox 11, and then Pittsburgh for Week 8. That's a Sunday night game. Maybe Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. Boy, would that be interesting. Packers are back home Week 9 against the Panthers. That is a noon kickoff right here on Fox 11.
And one of the guys most likely to make an appearance in the first half of the season, of course, is likely to be the Packers' first-round pick.
Right now, Fox 11's Cody Krupp has more from Matthew Golden and Brian Gutekunst on what the wide receiver brings to the team.
What a great, cool moment for Green Bay.
People said that Greenbay was too small.
Just really a cool scene out there.
For the first time since 2002.
It was a crowd reaction unlike many in draft history.
Draft a wide receiver, Matthew Golden, wide receiver of Texas.
Without even playing a snap yet for the Packers, Matthew Golden delivering one of the franchise's most memorable moments. Last time they took a wide receiver in the first round. He wasn't even born yet.
It was definitely different, man. That was the best feeling I had my whole life. I can't even explain it. You know, just being out there, you know, it felt like I was just out there having fun. And, you know, that's definitely something I'm bringing, you know. I'm bringing that mindset to come out here and win, but, you know, just enjoy football. You know, I feel like that's where it all go back to.
And now he could be that missing piece to a position that this whole offseason felt like it had more questions than answers.
We thought arguably he had some of the best hands in the draft. You're not only coming back to it and running through it, but when he tracked it over his shoulder and stuff too. Guys are coming in and making an impact quicker, and I certainly think Matthew has the opportunity to do that. I think he has a chance to contribute, you know, not only as a receiver, but I think he's got some special team return ability as well that could help us.
Whenever the lights turn on, I'm always at my best. And, you know, that's something that's always been with me. You know, whenever my back against the wall, I always come out on top. So I got a chip on my shoulder, and, you know, it's never going to leave me. That's something I bring with me everywhere I go.
I'm finna bring that energy, man. I'm glad to be here.
Reporting here from Lambeau Field, Cody Krupp, Fox 11 Sports.
It's an unreal feeling. I mean, I really don't have any words to describe it. I mean, it's definitely going to be one of the best memories I've had in my life. This day has been great. My mom, her, and my dad, they sacrificed so much for me to be. They sacrificed so much for me to be here, and I'm just happy that I get to share this opportunity with them because they deserve it. They deserve it so much. Man, I'm thankful. I'm thankful to have them as my parents. I'm thankful that they're here.
Players often share how incredible it was to hear their name called during the NFL draft, but for Barryn Sorrell, his experience might just take the cake.
Yeah, Fox 11's Ellie French has more on the Packers' fourth-round pick and that magical moment that he was at the center of during this year's draft in Green Bay.
With the 124th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Barryn Sorrell.
Barryn Sorrell surprised everyone when he walked the stage on day 3 of this year's NFL Draft. The Texas defensive end had been in Green Bay for 4 days.
Had to make a decision this morning. Do I go back and do I go home and, you know, and do it that way?
Sorrell chose to stay.
Just so blessed and thankful that I made the decision to come back because, I mean, it couldn't have turned out better, man.
After joining Packers fans in the crowd at the draft, Sorrell then made his way over here to Lambeau Field, taking in all the sights and sounds of his future home, and of course, doing his first ever Lambeau Leap.
Lambeau Leap, man, is just the energy and the way they embraced it, man, that was a great experience.
With his family in attendance, Sorrell discussed how much they helped to make his NFL dreams come true.
They sacrificed so much for me to be here, and I'm just happy that I get to share this opportunity with them because they deserve it.
When you see that kind of pure emotion, joy, all that kind of stuff, it's not shocking because you kind of know who the person is and how hard they've worked to get there. And when you put the time in, like he has, particularly, and overcome some of the things he's overcome, you understand why that emotion's coming out, which is really cool to see.
Reporting on the Packers, Ellie French, Fox 11 Sports.
News of the draft being hosted in iconic Titletown created high expectations for the city to live up to.
This so the NFL could possibly be tempted to bring the big event back to Titletown.
So how did things go? Our Ben Krumholtz hit the draft footprint for feedback on the three-day event.
And with less than 2 months left in his tenure, Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy sits down with our Ben Krumholtz as he reflects on the success of the NFL draft and what surprised him the most.
And as we head to our first break, we take a look back at some of the highlights of the NFL draft in Titletown. The Fox 11 Draft 25 Touchdown in Titletown special will be right back.
We will welcome in the next generation of stars into the NFL and bring hope to every NFL team, and we may have a few surprises for you tonight.
The Bears still suck! For the first time since 2002, draft a wide receiver. Matthew Golden, wide receiver.
When it comes to April in Wisconsin, you never know what you're going to get weather-wise.
You never do. But when it came to the final day of the draft, Mother Nature saved the best weather day for the last.
It meant plenty of big crowds and families dominating the scene. Fox 11's Ben Krumholtz has a look back at what this day meant to Titletown.
The reviews for the three-day NFL draft have been overwhelmingly positive from both organizers and attendees.
It's an amazing experience. It's very family-orientated. They've really worked hard to make a beautiful celebration that will be a lasting memory for a lot of people.
When an event receives as much hype as the NFL draft in Green Bay did, it can be difficult to meet expectations.
I mean, everything it's in order and it looks nice, well kept.
But NFL officials who put on the draft, Super Bowl, and international games each year say local organizers and fans exceeded all goals.
I apologize to the entire community. I got it completely wrong. I thought 250,000 people would come to this draft over 3 days, and you have completely blown that number out the doors.
That led us to ask, is this truly a once-in-a-lifetime event, or could it someday return to Green Bay?
I absolutely love the question, and I love the passion. I would say let's get through today, and then on Monday, let's have that conversation. How about that?
John Barker, the NFL's global head of major events, says the plan is to keep rotating the draft among cities who aren't in the conversation to host a Super Bowl. One thing the league hopes to replicate is the kids' bike parade that kicked off the draft's final day, a final ode to the Packers training camp tradition.
The idea of doing something Saturday morning with the community and the kids, it really struck home. What we saw this morning with those kids coming out and riding those bikes was really special. So that's something we're definitely going to take away.
With the actual crowd numbers blowing past the projections, the same should happen for economic impact. The statewide economic impact was projected at $94 million. Discover Green Bay and the NFL will both be putting out independent studies on that in the coming weeks. In Green Bay, I'm Ben Krumholtz.
Total attendance over all 3 days was 600,000 people. It ties Green Bay with Nashville for the second most attended draft. Let's take a look now at the numbers. Roughly 205,000 people attended day one of the draft. Thanks to some rain, showers, chilly temperatures, day two saw just 175,000 attendees. But Mother Nature sure made up for it on Saturday when a whopping 220,000 people attended the final day of the draft. It's safe to say that Titletown blew past the 250,000 total attendees that league officials had predicted.
In May of 2024, Governor Tony Evers had the privilege of receiving that draft-themed football in that handoff from Detroit. Now, more than a year later, he reflects on the success of Titletown's largest event in history.
The Packers are the Packers. They did everything right. And, to have that many people showing up and to have that over 3 days, it's just an amazing organization. And I've just been very pleased with the way it worked out.
The NFL draft in Green Bay blew away attendance expectations.
It was also the icing on the cake for Mark Murphy's tenure.
It truly was, as it was one of the last big events for the Packers president and CEO before his retirement in July. We sit down with Murphy one-on-one to get his reflections on this year's draft.
And as we head to break, another look at some of the highlights of the NFL draft here in Titletown. The Fox 11 Draft 25 Touchdown in Titletown special continues after this.
Even though it's raining and it's cold, we're all making the best of it. I'm cold. It's really nice. I traveled from Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Traveled here from Chicago, Illinois.
I came from Philadelphia. Traveled from Dallas, Texas.
I traveled from Ukraine.
Thank you very much. With the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers, for the first time since 2002, draft a wide receiver, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas.
Bringing the NFL draft to Green Bay has been a long-time goal for Mark Murphy.
Yeah, planning efforts started not long after the event first hit the road in Chicago back in 2015.
Fox 11's Ben Krumholtz sat down with Murphy to reflect on the accomplishment.
You've had a little time now to digest the draft. After years of planning, what's it like having it over now?
Definitely a sense of relief. I know I'm a little biased, but I think in my mind it's been the best draft that the NFL's ever had since they started taking it on the road.
Why would you say that?
I'd say the excitement level and the statistics. Smallest city by far in the league, and we had 600,000 people there. It was just speaks well, I think. Kind of support that we get, particularly from our fans. The TV ratings were phenomenal. The Thursday night, 13 and a half, was the most ever to watch the draft other than COVID. There was obviously an awful lot of interest.
Anything surprise you?
I was a little surprised by particularly the turnout on Saturday. I thought that might dip a little. I think we had more people on Saturday than any day. The weather cooperated, but no, it was just overwhelmingly positive.
Have you talked with the commissioner or anyone else about the potential of it ever coming back?
I have not, although I did talk to Roger. He was very, very complimentary. He thought that he was really pleased with the draft. I think other cities, other communities seeing what we did, I think 20 cities now that have expressed an interest in hosting the draft. So we'll love to have another draft here, but likely going to be quite a few years down the road.
So as your time is coming to a close here, where does hosting the draft rank among your accomplishments as the Packers president and CEO?
No, it's definitely something that again, it was a team effort, an organizational effort, but it's very high. I'd say probably right below winning the Super Bowl.
And Mark Murphy isn't the only one with great memories of the draft. We caught up with some Packers fans and some former players to hear what they're going to remember most about Titletown's biggest event yet.
Because of the hype to get here to this point, and now it's done and you're seeing everything go away, you hope it comes back.
The crowd and how it was just, everyone was having fun. It was, it didn't matter what your background was, didn't matter where you were from, didn't matter what your team you were from, didn't matter who you voted for. It was just people that wanted to be there for a good time, be around each other.
I'm super proud of Green Bay, the organization, just the city in itself, and just the community, because it was pulled off beautifully. You know, I think I've never seen that many people in one setting before. That was pretty crazy.
Scan the QR code on your screen to head to the 2025 NFL Draft section of our website. There you'll find all of our draft content from the months leading into the event. We've also included a photo gallery highlighting all of the festivities from the 3-day event.
Those in Titletown for the draft needed somewhere to eat.
And there were a lot of restaurants and vendors that certainly cashed in, but some were left with more food than they imagined.
Yeah, still ahead, how local shelters and food pantries benefited from that extra food and how local charities benefited from the truckload of materials left behind. As we head into our final break, another look at some of the highlights of the NFL Draft here in Green Bay. The Fox 11 Draft 25 Touchdown in Titletown special. We'll be right back.
You guys get over biking it. Way to go.
The Green Bay Packers select Barryn Sorrell, defensive end, Texas.
Make the handoff. High and tight, man.
Earlier, we shared with you the first half of the Packers 2025 schedule. Here's the rest. Week 10 Monday Night Football here at Lambeau. The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles come to town. Then the Packers head east to take on the Giants in Week 3. Then 3 straight NFC North matchups. First, the Vikings at home Week 12. A trip to Detroit on Thanksgiving Week 13. Followed by another home game against the Bears in Week 14. All 3 games, noon kickoffs right here on Fox 11. In between that, the Packers head to Denver to take on the Broncos Week 15. For out to Chicago to take on the Bears Week 16 Saturday, also right here on Fox. Week 17 home against Baltimore, and then the Packers close out the regular season in Minnesota.
The draft drew in hundreds of thousands of fans for the event, but afterward, thousands of pounds of food were left over. Instead of letting it go to waste, a nonprofit, Rooted In, stepped in, collecting more than 7,100 pounds of food. Not only does it keep the food from ending up in the garbage or the landfill, it helps hundreds of families facing food insecurity in Northeast Wisconsin. Rooted In collected meal staples like meat, salads, dairy, fresh produce, cheese, and much more.
To be able to feed people we know who so desperately need the food has been just put smiles on everyone's faces.
The food was distributed to 13 different area pantries, including the Salvation Army, Golden House, and the new community shelter.
The first elements of the NFL draft stage were installed the weekend of March 29th, and over the next several weeks, the stage took shape. A whopping 1.4 miles of truss were used to support the stage, and over 3,400 automated lighting fixtures were used to illuminate the theater, green room, and draft experience. Now, after the workers broke down that NFL draft footprint, plenty of valuable materials were left behind. An estimated 25 to 30 truckloads of items, including wood, fence, mesh, and metal flagpoles, were all donated, valued at roughly $500,000. They were given to Green Bay area charities. Habitat for Humanity, the American Red Cross, and the United Nations were just some of the organizations to benefit. Green Bay may be small, but it's mighty. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell saying it best on night 1 of the draft.
Our small community of less than 106,000 people exploding in size over the 3-day event to host the second largest draft in history.
We hope you enjoyed our look back at just some of the draft highlights in our Fox 11 Draft 25 Touchdown in Titletown special. Plenty more can be found on our YouTube page and at fox11online.com. Hope you have a great night.